What are we doing here, guys? David Ornstein reporting today that Manchester United and Chelsea are in direct talks regarding individual transfers, but ultimately some sort of swap between Raheem Sterling and Jadon Sancho. What are we doing here, guys? Honestly, right? I thought this was going to be a calm summer for United. I thought, new ownership, coming in with this new strategy, trying to sign young players, trying to sign players of a similar wage, trying to build a team in a certain image, trying to plan for the long term, and then we get hit with this. Honestly, this, right, has the potential to actually be worse than the Alexis Mkhitaryan swap that we saw a few years ago between Man United and Arsenal. And for me, I bring that one up because it's one of the worst swap deals I ever saw. Because at least between Barca and Inter, when they did Zlatan plus Eto'o and money, one team won out of that. This one, neither team won. Mkhitaryan was horrible for Arsenal. Alexis was somehow even worse for Man United. And within like 2-3 years, both of them were gone from their respective clubs. But this one, oh man, this one has the chance to actually make that one look worse. Because at least at the time, right? Cast your minds back to Alexis and Mkhitaryan when they swapped clubs. Alexis was coming off this incredible individual season of Arsenal. He was considered one of the best attackers in world football. And although the first half of that year he hadn't been at his best, people kind of put it down to a lack of motivation. He wanted to leave. And when we signed him for United, it was like, wow, we're signing a world beater. And he proved to be anything but that. And similar to Mkhitaryan, right? Yes, he had a difficult year and a half at United, inconsistent, some highs, some lows, but he also wasn't too far off those incredible years at Dortmund where he was tearing up the Bundesliga and the Europa League. So on paper, those deals looked really promising for both sides. It just, on the performance levels, horrible. You look at this one though, right? And on paper, it looks crap. Based on the last 2 years, it looks crap. Based on what it could be, it seems crap. Like there's nothing for both sets of fans to really be excited about with either of these moves. I'll speak from a Man United point of view first. Obviously, we know the history of Jadon Sancho at United. Signed under Oli, had a mixed year, never really got going, but we chalked it up to a bad year in general for United. Ralph Rangnick, Oli, no consistency. Let's see what he does in the second year. The second year, he starts under Ten Hag, decent preseason, slow start to the season, has competition of Anthony, who plays in the exact same spot, goes to the mountains for like 3 months to kind of get in the right headspace. Ten Hag brings him back, has some moments, ultimately doesn't amount to much. And then in the third season, didn't play in the first game, second game wasn't called up. Ten Hag says he didn't train well enough. Sancho calls him a liar, puts it out on Twitter, gets sent to Dortmund, or misses the first half of the season, gets sent to Dortmund, has a decent spell, comes back to United, and still has no place in this team. I think I just kind of summarized it pretty well within a minute. Sancho has no future at Man United, in my opinion. He has no present, and I struggle really to see a future at the club. So 100% it makes sense why Man United are trying to sell him. The issue is he's on massive wages, and not a lot of clubs, especially on the continent, can really afford to outright sign Jadon Sancho. Juventus have been interested all window, but if you believe, I think it was the Telegraph or the Times, they're basically saying that Juventus want a straight loan, no obligation to buy, and at the end of the window, he goes back, or okay, then we can reanalyze it. United says no. We either sell it to you outright or we get an obligation to buy. That's where the breakdown has kind of been of Juventus. So yeah, very clearly, Sancho is not in United's plans. And I'm completely behind it. Look, I don't think he's done anything to light the world at United. I think they're well within their rights to try and sell him. But for Raheem Sterling in return, and I'm not sure if it's going to be a straight swap or if it's going to be a case of Sterling plus money, or maybe it's, I don't know how it's going to work out. Does Chelsea pay some of Sterling's wages? Do we pay some of Sancho's wages? I'm not sure about that. We still need to see the details. But the fact that this is even a possibility that both clubs are seemingly interested in doing, it's baffling me. Honestly, let's look at the Sterling situation at Chelsea. We know that he got bought for big money a few years ago in Tuchel's last window, 50 million pounds or so for a player that was coming off winning the Premier League 3 times in a row with City, or 2 times in a row. He'd won everything there was to win there, put up big numbers at City. He came in as like an established star. And let's be real, at Chelsea as well too, it never really got going. And now that they're trying to build this younger team, they're trying to lessen the wage bill, he's inevitably on the chopping block. But this is a player that turns 30 years old in, I believe it's October, gets paid £300,000 plus a week, and there's no getting around it. He's on the decline, chat. Raheem Sterling is on the decline. This is not a player that's getting any better. This isn't a player that's still in his prime. This is a player that is a shadow at the current moment of the player we saw at City, at the player we saw at Euro 2021. And it's not like a shadow of bad form. I think it's a shadow of like he is clearly on the decline. Cam today read me a stat. I can't remember exactly where he got it from. But Raheem Sterling at this point in his career, he's 29 turning 30. The amount of minutes he's played in his entire career is totaling that which a 34 or 35-year-old would on average. That just shows you the amount of mileage this guy has on the clock. He's been playing professional football since he was, 16, 17. He's not a player getting any better. And he's not a player getting any younger. And he's not a player that's going to come to United on some sort of cheap. And when you look at what United have kind of been, advertised under this new ownership, under this new board, under Dan Ashworth, under Omar Barada, signing a soon-to-be 30-year-old on the decline on those kinds of wages is anything but what we've come to expect under INEOS in this window. In fact, for being real here, and let's be absolutely real, because I know there's a real feel-good factor around United at the time, and we all want to be positive, but let's be real. If the Glazers were making this move, this is a move that we would criticize them for. In fact, this kind of move has Glazers painted all over it, bro. Signing a on the decline 30-year-old on those kinds of wages with a big name is a Glazers move. There's no getting around it. This is a move that the Glazers and Myrtle and Woodward would have made. So honestly, I've loved the work that INEOS have done this window. Lenny Yoro, one for the future, and one when he's fit could potentially really help us now too. For me, that's a perfect signing right there. Mazraoui, 15 million pounds for a very versatile, very technical, very intelligent fullback. I love it. Bargain of the window so far for me. Xerxes, the young player of the year from Serie A, under 25 years old, very technical, huge kid as well too, raises the physical and technical ceiling of this team. I love the signing. Even Matthijs de Ligt, I think it's a great signing, both in terms of depth, in terms of competing for a starting spot, the price, the age, experience, leadership. I love the signing. The Ugarte one even, right? I made a whole video giving my doubts over Ugarte, but I still, at its core, don't hate it. He's a 23-year-old. He's coming off a bad season, has previous experience with playing at a good level, can improve the team. I hear it. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I can get behind it. I can subscribe to that idea. This one, chat, honestly, you got to sell me on this one. You got to sell me on this one, man. I don't like this deal whatsoever. And I don't like it for Chelsea either, right? I'm speaking from a United point of view. For Chelsea, what are they gaining by bringing in Jadon Sancho to the club? Let's look at the attacking talent that Chelsea has at their disposal at the moment. On either side, Madueke, coming off a hat trick against Wolves. He's probably one of the first names on the team sheet at the moment. He's going to play on the right. Cole Palmer, it was playing as a 10, but let's face it, especially if they're going to try and get Enzo, Caicedo, and my man, Lavia in the same team, there's a chance as well, too, that Palmer, although he's not playing as an out-and-out right winger, he's still going to play in those like pockets coming in off the right. On the left, you got Pedro Neto, who also plays on the right as well, too. That's an option on either side. And Nkunku, when he's played, has kind of occupied positions coming off the left. Maybe not off the left flank, but off the left. Joao Felix as well too, similar sort of role. Where does Jadon Sancho really, for example, the final boss says Sancho will replace Sterling. Sterling's not in your plans. Sterling doesn't have a role on your team. The reason you're trying to get rid of Sterling is because you have a big squad and he's on huge wages. You have a lot of wingers already. I even forgot to say Mudryk, which you can say, oh, Mudryk's not in our plans, but Mudryk's not leaving Chelsea this year. He's still a guy that is on your wage bill. He's still at your club, and he's still going to be getting minutes here and there. Wing, or an attack in general, is not really the area of the pitch that I see Chelsea needing to sign another player, let alone a player that, to this point, has been a flop in the Premier League. He has shown you nothing to be convinced that Jadon Sancho can succeed in the Premier League, both in terms of the pace of the league, the athleticism you require to have in the Premier League, the intensity he needs to play at. I don't understand it, honestly. From a Chelsea point of view, I really do not understand why they're the ones that have come to United asking for Jadon Sancho. I can't understand that one. That one for me makes no sense, bro. Honestly. I feel like Chelsea already, they have a lot of question marks in their team. Where does this guy fit? Can this guy kind of fulfill his potential? The last thing I feel like that Chelsea team needs is another player that, A, you don't know what his best position is. We still, 7 years into Sancho's career, don't know if he's better off the right or the left. And B, you don't know which kind of version of Sancho you're going to get on a game-to-game basis. This isn't a great signing, in my opinion, on paper for Chelsea Football Club. I think if they're to go and get an Osimhen, terrific business. An Ivan Toney, good signing. A proven, reliable, productive threat from either flank or up front. I hear it for Chelsea. I think that's what they need. That's the next step. They have a good, exciting young squad. Throwing another question mark on top of it, I think it's just another thing on the plate for Enzo Maresca to kind of figure out now, bro. Already, he's going to have to figure out how he's going to get Felix in this team. How is he going to incorporate Nkunku? Is Pedro Neto going to be his right or left winger? Now you're throwing another thing on the plate for him. That's a question mark. I'm not a fan for it, man. I'm not a fan for it. Who is it worse for, though, huh? Is this worse for United or is it worse for Chelsea? Because let's face it as well, too. Even past the player that Sancho is. Sancho's a player on big wages, bro. On massive wages. And I even look at it for Sancho as well, too. Is this the right move for his career? He needs to get away from Man United, no doubt about it. Just as badly as United need to get rid of him, he needs to leave the club. But is this the best move for Jadon Sancho? First of all, from a personal point of view, I believe Jadon Sancho needs to leave the Premier League. I believe he needs to get out of the spotlight of the English media, get out of the spotlight of most English fans, go back abroad and play where there's way less media attention on him. At this point in Jadon Sancho's career, the most important thing for him is to become, again, 100% refocused on football and 100% out of people's mouths all the time. I'm sorry, going back home to London and playing for Chelsea, which are already such a media club at the moment, the way everyone is talking about them, and all the controversy that every single day sparks out about that club. And there's no certainty that Jadon Sancho is starting games week in, week out. For this point in his career, I think is the worst thing possible for Jadon Sancho. Genuinely, I think he should leave the Premier League. This Juventus deal, I think he should be hoping that that works out for him. I don't think it's good for him to stay in the Premier League, man. I'll be very honest. I think he should be hoping that the Juventus deal kind of pulls through. Because at Chelsea, honestly, I think he's going to struggle. I don't think that's the kind of environment for Jadon Sancho to really rediscover his best form. That's just me personally. Let's go back to Sterling, right? Because I keep going back and forth. Because honestly, this move as a totality, it doesn't make sense for me for any of these players. Maybe Sterling, to be fair, right? I think he's actually a boyhood Man United fan. So for him to play for his boyhood club, I guess it means something. And he's going to be playing at a big club as well, too. His profile is still going to be very, very large. And let's face it, he's playing for Man United. Like, you guys can clown Man United all you want, bro. For a player like Sterling at this stage in his career, he'll bite your hand off to go to Man United, honestly. But does it not sit right with anybody else either that the fact that this guy played for Liverpool, Man City, and Chelsea, and now we're signing him? Does that sit well with any of you guys? Because I can't lie, for me, it's not the biggest concern. Obviously, like the playing style and the salary, that's a bigger concern. But for me, it's still like a cherry on top. The fact that this guy is a Manchester City, whether you want to call him a legend, I know a lot of their fans, they don't like calling him a legend because of the way he left and the way he's spoken, but he's still like one of the biggest players in their modern history. He made his name at Liverpool. He's a former Liverpool player. He signed for Chelsea, and now it looks like he could be signing for Man United. I mean, is it harsh for me to say he's kind of a mercenary? Bro, playing for Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea, and United. He just needs to join Arsenal. It's the big five. I'm not feeling that, bro. I'll be real. I know he's already hated by both. And Man United fans, you think we're just going to welcome him in like a big hug. I'm going to hope he does well, but I'll tell you this right now for free. If Sterling starts slow at Man United fans are not going to wrap their arm around Raheem Sterling, bro. The fact that he's already at City and Liverpool and at Chelsea as well too. And the fact that no one's really happy about this move. We're going to hope he does well and we're going to welcome him in if he signs, reluctantly. But he's not going to have a lot of credit in the bank here, bro. I'll be very, very honest here. The minute he starts not performing the way we kind of want him to, the first thing we're going to throw at him is like, oh, that City reject or that Liverpool reject. I'm telling you, bro. For me, honestly, chat, it's one of the weirdest transfer rumors that actually apparently has like when I first heard this rumor, I actually thought my chat was making it up. But now that Ornstein has kind of validated it and Sky Sports are covering it and the Times and honestly, it looks like there's a lot of credibility behind this rumor, and it looks like something that if both sides can come to an agreement, it will be happening. It's not a might. If they can find an agreement here, this move happens. That for me has put a bit of a dampener on the window, honestly. Let's talk about like the potential positives or what people are trying to spin as a positive. I saw Troy Deeney, for example, today saying, well, Raheem Sterling, he's better than anything else United has on the wings. And also, he can be a great mentor for the young players. Let me tell you this right now, right? I've been watching Man United a very long time, since 2006. But you could have been watching United for the last 10 years, and this, what I'm about to say rings true. Every single time Manchester United signs an old player or a player 30 or above or a player on the decline or a player that has a big name, the media and the pundits and our own fans who try and put a positive twist to everything we do always bring up the same two buzz statements. The first one, well, he's better than anything we have. Yeah, he's better than what we have. In fact, United fans, or fans in general, they love throwing that at anything. I remember 2 years ago when we signed Antony, and I had question marks about the Antony signing from day one. But what people told me is like, yeah, but we're starting Elanga against Liverpool, and Anthony's better than Elanga, so if I don't have to see Elanga again, I'll take Antony any day of the week. That's not how you should interpret football, bro. Honestly, just sign great players. Don't sign players that just happen to be better than what we have. We just finished 8th place. If by that judgment, anything we sign is better than what we just had. That's not the way you should look at things. But second of all, I've seen United and media and pundits always use this thing. Well, he's better than what they have right now. That's not good enough because we can sign better than what we have, still at a better age, at a less of a salary, at a player that's on the up. It's not hard to sign better than we already have. Secondly, the amount of times I've heard United fans and pundits and the media say, oh, Cavani, he's going to be a great mentor for Mason Greenwood and Anthony Martial. He's going to be a great mentor. Zlatan, he's going to be a great mentor for Martial and Rashford. Ronaldo, we're signing him. He's a great player now, and he's also going to be a great mentor for Greenwood and Ronaldo and Rashford and this guy and this guy. The amount of times I hear pundits and media consistently throw the same buzz term at Man United fans to basically eat up and just accept whatever we get thrown at us. Oh, he's going to be a great mentor. Why do we need mentors? What is this, bro? Just let them develop. Just let them grow. We'll let them become great players in their own time. No one's going to put immense pressure on Alejandro Garnett. No, least of all me. He's 20 years old. I'm not going to put major pressure on him, but also play him. At the moment, this might sound crazy to you right now, chat. Troy Deeney is saying Sterling is way better than what United have. I'm not sure he is, right? If you ask me, who would I rather have and start consistently between Alejandro Garnacho and Raheem Sterling, I don't know, honestly, if the answer is that straightforward. Coolly, I didn't say I didn't rate Cavani at United, but my point with Cavani, similar to Sterling could do well at United in his first season. I'm not saying here that Sterling is going to come to United and flop, but my point is, he's 30 years old. He might do really well in his first season, but long term, it's only going to go down. It's similar to Casemiro had an amazing first season at Man United. You know how many people still talk about that first season? Almost no one. Everyone just calls him a complete and utter flop. They all forget that he had an amazing first season, but that's the issue of signing players over 30. Yeah, they can give you a year or two. They're still good players. That's the reason why you buy them. But their lifeline, their window to still be an elite player is massively smaller than a player who's 24, 25, 26. Naturally. So Sterling could be just like Cavani, bro. Cavani had a really good first season. What did he give us after that first season? I understand there's the whole Ronaldo thing coming back. But Cavani's playing at Boca Juniors right now, bro. He went to, I think, did he go Benfica the next year? No, Valencia, excuse me. He got worse and worse every single year. Zlatan had a great season for us that first year. I know he got injured towards the end of the season, but Zlatan would just got worse and worse and worse for us. And I expect similar to Sterling, bro. And that's not a diss at Sterling. He's 30 years old and he's already on the decline. He could be good for us next season. It could mean absolutely nothing because the next year he could completely fall off a cliff. And now all of a sudden we have a 30-year-old or 31-year-old with 3 years left on his deal on big wages that we can't get rid of. And the biggest frustration with that is that that's what we're trying to get away from. That, what I just described, completely describes the last 5, 6, 7 years under the Glazers. We're supposed to be getting away from that. So, honestly, I'm not a fan of the signing. I'm not a fan of the signing whatsoever, bro. You talk about Sterling's game, right? Sterling is, for me, a Premier League, hero. I wouldn't call him an icon or a legend, to be honest with you. But he has made his stamp on the Premier League. I think, 138 or something Premier League goals? He's in the top 20 for Premier League goals. Scored big goals in big games for City over the years. But one thing about Sterling, and look, he's a great goal scorer. Or he was a great goal scorer. He's never been a great finisher. Fact. Great anticipation, great at making runs in behind, a real threat for defenders in terms of his movement. He reads plays very, very well. But in terms of reliability in front of goal, the guy has never in his life been a reliable finisher, ever. Meaning, he needs chances to score goals. And that's fine, the best do. But he in particular needs chances to score goals. And he's a high volume player. The more chances you get, the more likely it is he'll score. You give him one chance a game, there's a high chance he finishes the game with 0 goals. And you've kind of seen that, right? I mean, you might say it's harsh, but since he's left City, you have seen the decline in his production. He's still scored you a few goals here and there, but his production has gone down. Now, you bring him to a club like United, who people will say, oh, they've created the second most XG in the league this year. Let's be real, man. The last 2 years, United have barely cracked positive goal difference. United have not been a great goal-scoring team the last 2 years. And they've hardly been a team that creates chances at free will. Bruno is a great creator, but as a whole system, they're not this insanely creative team. So you're asking a guy who's not a guy who really creates chances on his own, and he's not a great finisher. He really needs high volume of chances being created for him. And you're bringing him to Man United. Look, you don't have to be a genius to say that that's not a great marriage. At least on paper again. I have to ask this too, honestly, I don't want to ignore Sancho here because that's one for me. Honestly, if I'm him, I'm going to United and saying, bro, please make it work for Juventus. And I know he's not going to because for him, I'm sure the idea of coming back home to London, being closer to his family, being closer to his friends, being closer to home, playing with guys around his own age, playing in the Premier League, I'm sure that entices him. But it probably entices him from a personal level too. From a footballing level, Jadon Sancho needs to leave England. Bro, he has to. He has to. And if he's going to stay in England, it for sure cannot beat the Chelsea. That move, for me, will be catastrophic for his career. That, for me, will kind of be the last we hear from Jadon Sancho at a serious level. I think Juve is a move that at least he can get back to some sort of relevancy, bro, honestly. I have a question for you guys as well, too, chat. Chat and obviously whoever's coming from YouTube. Because obviously the other link for Sancho is Juve. And Juve, like we said, they don't want to do a full transfer and they don't want to do a loan of an obligation. Juve are also trying to get rid of Chiesa for around 12 million. I'm interested, again, from the chat and from my YouTube comments, who's watching this maybe a few hours or tomorrow. Would you rather do a swap deal, Sterling and Sancho, or Sancho and Chiesa? Now, Chiesa, I think, is 26, turning 27, I believe, in a few months. Yeah, he turns 27 in basically a month. Would you rather swap Sterling and Sancho or send Sancho to Juve and get Chiesa the other way? I can't lie. The overwhelming majority is saying Chiesa. Chiesa is one of those guys, right? Look, I just created this rumor out of nothing. I'm just thinking wow, what would make Juventus more likely to accept the deal? Maybe if you threw Chiesa, but Chiesa looks like he's going to Liverpool. So this is me just speaking purely hypothetically. But if I was Dan Ashworth, which obviously I'm not. And this isn't me saying I would do Dan Ashworth's jobs better. Let me make that very clear. But for me, it would make sense if there was any sort of interest in Chiesa, or a real winger, which is what they clearly want in Sterling, more wing depth. I feel like Chiesa's 3 years younger. And look, I get it. Since his injuries, those have really taken a toll on his body. And I know he's not coming off the greatest season. But I tend to agree with you guys, bro. I feel like I'd rather have Chiesa than Sterling. And that might come back to bite me in the ass. Like, maybe Sterling has a better season than him. But I'm sorry. I feel like I'd rather have Chiesa. And I feel like if you really wanted to get this deal done with Juve, I would ask for Chiesa in return. Now, clearly, that's not happened. And I'm not sure what the exact details are. Maybe Chiesa doesn't want to come to United. I don't know. But it's peculiar for me that United are trying to get rid of this guy. Juve wants him. United wants a winger. And instead we're going for Sterling and not even inquiring about Chiesa. Apparently, Fabrizio said today, Liverpool is the only club that have made any kind of interest in Chiesa or any kind of like formal interest. I don't know, man. It's a weird one for me, bro. I personally, chat, if I were to take anybody off Chelsea, realistically, right? Because obviously I'd love Cole Palmer, but that's not going to happen. If I were to take anybody off Chelsea, it would be Carney Chukwuemeka. Him, I would take. Young, exciting, on the up. For me, before his big injury, looked like one of Chelsea's better, more promising young players. I think he's kind of unfortunate that a new manager has come in that period, and clearly he likes other options. And Cole Palmer, who plays a similar kind of area of the pitch, really has exploded into superstardom. I think Carney Chukwuemeka is a bit unfortunate that since his injury, so much has happened to Chelsea. Cole Palmer's ascension, new manager, his injury. It's tough for him. But if you were to ask me, and Chelsea clearly are not really too fussed about letting him go this year, right? Chelsea have said they will let go of... I'm not trying to speak poorly on Chelsea because I know you fans don't like it when people don't speak correctly on Chelsea. But if I'm not incorrect, isn't Chukwuemeka up for sale this year for Chelsea? Aren't Chelsea not really fussed if Chukwuemeka leaves this year? Guys are saying Chukwuemeka's staying. Where's he going to play, bro? Bro, there is no choice in this. Chelsea want rid of Sterling and United want rid of Sancho. That doesn't mean that we have to take each other's trash, bro. I can't lie. That doesn't mean that we exchange trash. If you want Sancho, Chelsea wants Sancho more than we want Sterling. Fact, they're the ones who came to us. We didn't come to them. If you want Sancho, then we have leverage. Don't throw us your trash because you want our trash. That's how this should work. Backup for Palmer. What? As like a central attacking player? Nah, bro. Don't tell what. So if Palmer goes down, Chukwuemeka's first in line. He's not. Felix will play. And Nkunku will play there. Either run, for me, honestly, this is what I said on Twitter. Either just give me my money. Just run me my money for Sancho, bro. Or give me a player that I want. Offloading your dead weight to me, that's crazy to me, bro. Honestly, I really hope this Sterling move doesn't happen. And I know, look, I saw the comments for people after my Ugarte video saying, this guy is so negative. Oh, just wait and see what he does. Look, I know United fans right now, we have a cloud of positivity over our heads because of the new ownership. Ten Hag stayed. We won a trophy. We signed some good players. I get it. Be positive. But bro, don't let this positivity and this feel-good feeling really put wool over your eyes. Don't let it happen, bro. Call a spade here. United fans advocating for this Raheem Sterling deal are complete hypocrites for me. You are completely going against everything that for the last 5, 6, 7 years we have said we don't want at the club. Don't do that. Bro, this deal is just to get rid of the team's players, not to get a player. So, bro, but you're not getting rid of anything if in return for trash, you're just getting trash back. You just have new trash. You have trash wearing a different jersey. But anyways, that's me on Sterling and Sancho, man. I'm not a fan of the move. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Do you think this is going to happen? Do you think this is just like United trying to bluff Juventus into paying what they want? Let me know what you guys think. But for me, I ain't vibing with it, man.